What is up, everybody? This is Stevie Reach coming to you today. Last weekend, we had what was called one of the worst catastrophes in the history of WWE. There was people out there that were calling for the heads of Vince McMahon. They were basically looking for anybody in the world of creative to be fired. And basically, it's the zombie match. This was supposed to be a lumberjack match that WWE was able to get some outside funding for. Somebody wanted to do like some publicity, I guess you can say, to get the name out there for this new zombie Batista movie that's coming out. So it was a good way to like cross merchandise, WWE fans with Batista fans that say, hey, Batista's got a movie coming out. He's going to be killing some zombies. So, hey, let's give WWE some money. They'll put some zombies on the pay-per-view, and that'll do it. Basically, we had The Miz out there battling. This is still, battling over the whole Bad Bunny feud that him and John Morrison were going through. This guy just got promoted up from WWE. I watch so much WWE these days, I can't even remember the guy's name. And I watched the match last night. I think it's like Damian Priest or something like that. But, people are basically calling this, the worst thing that's going to sink WWE, much like, RoboCop or David Arquette winning the WCW championship. Some people even going with the House of Horrors match from Halloween Havoc way back in WCW. I can tell you this. RoboCop and House of Horrors happened, I want to say, mostly in the 80s. And WCW still ran for, a decade after those, even though that they were so bad. They didn't sink the ship. Maybe David Arquette was closer to the being the straw that broke the camel's back, or, the last bullet that they shot into the body of WCW that finally put them to sleep. But I think we can all see that no matter what they do, WWE is too big to fail at this point. Basically, with the publicly traded money, AEW has been kicking NXT's ass, for well over a year. I think WWE can have some zombies run in there. I can honestly tell you that when I was watching the match, even though I knew it was coming, I think people who were actually watching the pay-per-view were really, really surprised and hated it right off the bat. I can honestly say, knowing that it was coming, once I finally saw it, I think that this is nothing worse than, during the Attitude Era when Mae Young gave birth to Mark Henry's son, the Hand. That was never really spoken of again until like a Raw reunion or whatever it was, where the Hand showed up and it looked kind of like the hamburger helper chef Hand. But I don't think it's the worst thing that's ever happened in the history of wrestling. I think that there's been other stuff that's been out there. It sucks that The Miz got injured. The people that are blaming the zombies for the injury, the way the injury happened, the way it looked like it happened in the match, I think it honestly would have happened just about any way in there. I don't think the zombies had anything to do with it. Maybe, a different scenario where it's just a normal singles match, or it's a lumberjack match, but it's the old-fashioned way where you've got, I was going to say, guys like Zack Ryder and, and guys like that kind of, around the ring, people that are at the pay-per-view but are not being used. But, that's just different scenarios or different days, and maybe it doesn't happen that day. I know that this is Miz's first injury since he's been on the main roster in WWE. It's the first one that's going to keep him out a considerable amount of time. I don't think that Miz is somebody that needs to get, refreshed. But, definitely when Miz was stuck in that kind of like, is he just going to win the Intercontinental title again kind of setting that he was in for the longest time, where he'd fallen out of the main event and he was down in the mid-card, but he was like, been in the mid-card so long that it was like nobody really believed when he was getting a push that it was going to be a push that was really going to go anywhere. That just, win a singles championship, lose a singles championship, go on to the next feud, kind of thing. We were hoping that, he could do something to refreshen it up. I'm not looking for him to like change his character or anything like that, but basically when he comes back, he's going to be something that we haven't seen in such a while that it's going to be fresh for us to have him, and I'm sure we'll be glad to have him around. Also, in the meantime, John Morrison, if he's able to actually get some singles wins under his belt, definitely, being the Miz's tag team partner or, the Miz's lackey. I saw a stat the other day that John Morrison hasn't won a singles match in over a year. I don't know if it's true or not, but the way that I read it, it seemed like it was true. It seemed like that person knew what they were talking about. But I think that when he came, from the success that he had out of WWE, being the Impact champion, being the AAA champion, being a main event guy, proving his worth out there, even if it is a big fish in a small pond, I think that he deserves more than he's getting. John Morrison around 2010 was one of my favorite guys to watch in WWE. If you can remember back, I think it was the first Raw of 2011. They had it was like a number 1 contenders match, I think, or something like that. It was John Morrison versus The Miz. I really thought I really thought Morrison was going to win that match. Hey, let me know what you guys think. Do you think that the zombie match from WrestleMania Backlash is the worst match of all time? Or did you guys kind of give it a pass? Or now that it's been a week, can you guys kind of excuse it? It's just it's saying it's WWE being WWE. I mean, obviously, you look out there, AEW, in my opinion, puts on a better product. TV and their sporadic pay-per-views, I think, are worth the money. You can debate, with the whole death match that happened with Omega and Moxley a couple months ago. I think that's a better product, even though the pay-per-views cost more and they sting a little bit when you press